Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. 2003, the year-end charts on Billboard is the topic of today's video. I got my tier list out, I got all of the cover arts out. These are the top 20 songs of that year, and I will be trying to place them out on this tier list based on my personal preference. And at the end of it all, maybe you can also share where you would place all of these songs. Last time out, 2002, I had tons of fun talking about those songs from that year. And just kind of looking at the songs that I have in front of me now, today in 2003, might not be as good of a of a year overall. But I think 2002 set a very high standard. I don't think 2003 will be the worst of the bunch, as I'm done with this series. But yeah, there are some rough ones in here, and there are some great ones. So a little bit of both, and I will be starting in kind of a rough area because Lil Kim, Magic Stick is the name of the song, and I have to be completely honest, I had never heard this song before, so I sat down to listen to it, and then I listened again, and I listened again, and yeah, basically listening to it 5 times because that's the rule I set to myself. If I don't know the song, I need to listen to it 5 times to really just get a clear idea of it. That means I spent 30 minutes on this song, listening to it over and over again because it's actually 6 minutes long, and it's 6 minutes of Lil Kim being completely buried in the mix. She's barely audible in this song, and it has no sense of progression, has no dynamic really. It's just non-stop monotonousness that goes on for 6 minutes. It's a very clear F for me. I get no enjoyment out of this song. I don't know why it would be enjoyable to someone, but if you do enjoy it, someone who's watching, please let me know why you like this song, because I'd actually like to know, and maybe I can find something in it to really like distinguish and seek out and make sure to enjoy that aspect of it, because throughout all of my listening experiences with this one, I just couldn't find anything to enjoy with it. So it's an F to get me going on today's tier list here, and the Fs are gonna keep coming because Uncle Kracker, I don't know what happened here. Uncle Kracker got a lot of praise from me in a few videos ago with his big hit Follow Me. This is Drift Away, I suppose the follow-up perhaps, and I genuinely wonder what did happen here, because the voice, his voice sounds completely off in this track. Instrumentally it's quite off as well. I mean, the instrumentation of this track sounds really tacky to me. It feels almost kind of like a parody of chill country rock to me, and I got no enjoyment out of this song either. I found it to be quite uninspired and uninteresting, and I don't really know what stands out about it. I don't think it would have charted unless it hadn't got like a hype stamp around being, oh, a new Uncle Kracker song. Remember Follow Me? That was so great. I'm not really sure how this managed to sneak its way up into the top 20 on the year-end charts. This was also a song, I have to be honest, that I was not familiar with before. So maybe there's some context here that I'm missing, but this was not a fun listen for me. I found it to sound really tacky, and it's another F. This is a rough start, isn't it? However, Avril Lavigne comes around to actually save this start and actually bring some songs that I actually enjoy here. And I'm With You is the name of this one. It's, I suppose, the follow-up to Complicated, which was, of course, a huge success. And I'm With You is a really sweet tune. I think there's a palpable emotion within this one. I find the sincerity of it to really be its selling aspect. Again, just like with Complicated, I suppose. The instrumentation of this track, it brings a lot of clarity. I do find that the soundstage feels very complete within the song. Everything's very clear and has a purposeful delivery. I enjoy it. I really do, and I think it's absolutely a really great song altogether. It's a B-tier song for me, and yeah, well done, Avril. Keep making them, or keep appearing on these lists, and I get some positive things to talk about. There's not a lot to say about the song, really, if I'm like on a deeper level. I just get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I think it's complete. I think it's purposeful. They knew what they were doing with it, and it feels very honest and palpable. So B for Avril here. And that leads me quite conveniently into the song I Know What You Want, and this one is by Busta Rhymes, Mariah Carey, and Flipmode Squad. lot of people involved with this song, and it's quite an enjoyable tune, really. I think the beat is wonderful in it, and there's kind of like an expansive instrumentation within this song that's fading in and out throughout the track, and that brings a lot of liveliness to it. I think makes it feel lively, and even though I guess the song feels very laid back, it also has that kind of undertone of energy within it that makes sure that you pay attention throughout. It's also really like head nod inducing, to be honest. The beat is one of these that just hits me, and I'm stuck with it, and I just nod my head along and enjoy it really. Melodically also very catchy chorus. I guess there is one part of it that holds it back. Like, I do really appreciate this wide array of vocal inputs that it has. Also makes like sure that the song is continuously interesting in its progression. But there's this part towards the end where I guess it's Mr. Rhymes who gets a little bit ambitious in his own vocal abilities, because he starts singing a part towards the end that's just sounds subpar, let's say, to everything we've heard leading up to it. But I guess that's a minor setback. Overall, it is a fun listen. It's catchy and just rather neat. So I'll place it in the B category. I think it's closer. It's closer towards the C category than the A. But I'm feeling generous with this one. I do find it to be a bit of fun, really. So yeah, B for Busta Rhymes and the gang there. And that leads me nicely into more B's, I guess, because Beautiful is the song by Christina Aguilera. And this song is, I mean, everyone probably knows it. I don't think I need to explain what the song is about. But it's very on the nose on its subject matter, of course. And perhaps it's a bit too obvious in its approach. However, I think that it's also quite captivating. It has a striking force to it. The loudness really hits for me. It can be a bit overbearing, I think, towards the end. It gets a bit over the top, but still, I'm connected to it. I listen to every word, and I really take in the effort that's being made here. I think the songwriting craft really, like, it shows on a huge arrangement, and the chorus hits hard. I think the vocals are, of course, largely to thank that, but yeah, altogether, strong package, compelling. It hits absolutely. I'm not sure if I find the polish to be that great, though. I will place it in B between Avril and Busta here, but it's a nice tune. It really is, and it absolutely hits. So yeah, another B there for Beautiful. Now next up, Jennifer Lopez being back again, and Jennifer Lopez is very hit and miss with me, as you've noticed probably. This is featuring LL Cool J. I'm not overly familiar with LL Cool J, but the song is called All I Have, and this is again the chill, laid-back Jennifer Lopez that I just unfortunately find to be so uninteresting. Maybe I could have clicked with this song, but it's simply not that engaging to me. I don't find there to be a lot of energy in here. The beat is very repetitive. The hook is even more so. It's not a song for me. It's an E-tier song. Yeah, I can't really explain any further. I just don't click with it, and I find it to be rather uninteresting, unfortunately. 50 Cent up next, and this is 50 Cent with Nate Dogg, and the song is called 21 Questions. And I do quite like this plucky little guitar motif that it has going on that kind of builds up the song, but it gets tiresome quite quickly. I mean, the song is longer than 5 seconds, so it's very much on repeat. The beat really becomes quite repetitive and monotonous throughout the song. Rapping, I don't find it to be particularly expressive in this song. There's another 50 Cent track that I find to be the complete opposite in this list that I will talk about later, which really just showcases the contrast between the songs and just how lacking I find this one to be. Chorus also feels rather underwhelming melodically, and vocally I find it to be quite lazily sung. It's not an enjoyable listen for me. It has redeeming qualities like that little guitar line, so I'll place it above Jennifer Lopez, but it's still an E-tier song for me. I don't return to it, I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and no, just not really for me, that one either. Something that I guess is more for me, but I perhaps didn't really expect it to be. This is a song that I wasn't familiar with before making this video. It's by Nelly, who of course returns in all of these lists it seems, Murphy Lee and Diddy, and it's called Shake Ya Tailfeather. And the first time I heard this song I was like, oh, what? I mean, I don't enjoy this at all. And then I just realized more and more, you know, it's not that bad. It's quite fun, really. I think the variation of vocalists really keep it refreshing. The beat has fun inputs in here. There's some brass and a neat layer on the vocal throughout. And the chorus is catchy, sing-along friendly. The song is just quite fun altogether. And I guess it's just a solid package. I'm placing it in C, and I'm almost leaning towards placing it in B. But it's still, at the end of the day, it's not the kind of music that I find that much enjoyment in. I just find this one to be, you know, surprisingly decent for my personal liking. So when I saw the title Shake Ya Tailfeather, I just assumed that I would be placing it in F, but I'm not doing that. I think it's decent enough. So it's C for Nelly and the gang here. And I'm moving swiftly over to something that I gotta say I'm quite disappointed by. I do appreciate a lot of Beyonce's work, but Beyonce's and Sean Paul's song Baby Boy, I don't know. I mean, it has a very deep kind of beat that just provides very little contrast to the rest of the song, which feels a bit underwhelming to me. And then it's basically Beyonce who sings with 3 other Beyoncés all over the mix. It's very clashing and doesn't really have a consistent purpose in either of the vocal lines, I think, and you find Sean Paul mumbling in the background throughout. It's honestly quite a chore for me to sit through. Sounds uninspired melodically, and it feels a bit all over the place. It's another E. I don't know what to say. Beyonce, again, is both Beyonce and Sean Paul would be, I will talk about them later on in this video, in much more positive manner. This one is just a blip, I suppose, because no, I do not enjoy this whatsoever. But finally, we move on to something that I really enjoy. And that might come as a surprise, because this song is absolute madness, really. It's Lil Jon, it's the East Side Boys, and it's the Ying Yang Twins, and the song is called Get Low. And you know this song. Everyone who played, what was it, Need for Speed Underground, I think it was, which I did as a kid, you're familiar with this song, and you have it stuck in your head ever since then. And maybe you didn't even need to play that game to have this song stuck in your head. I'm sure you have a different association with it, but it's a massive hit for a very good reason, this one. It's compelling due to just loudness, impact. It's a silly song, but it's so assertive, aggressive, in your face. You can't shy away from it. It's just irresistible to pay attention to the track. And I guess the aggression of it can be a bit much. I would absolutely understand that. For some reason, I just find myself to be on the right side of the fence with it. The beat is a standout for sure. The rapping is varied throughout the track. The flow works well. And the chorus is, of course, the biggest hit of it all. I mean, it's just that memorable. It's impossible for me to not just go along with this hook. And to the window, to the wall, and into the A category. Simple. Love it, truly, actually, even though that might be unexpected. And next up is Evanescence here with Bring Me to Life. This is another song that I'm sure everyone's heard, probably a million times. It is a bit on the tacky side, this kind of call response thing they're doing in the chorus with the male vocalist basically shouting a lot, and then the female. I'm sorry, I'm just saying male vocalist and female vocalist because I haven't studied any names here. And then the female vocalist is sounding very distressed and kind of desperate, and it creates kind of a fun little tacky dynamic within that, I suppose. But I mean, I just can't really resist it. It's one of the most melodramatic tracks I've ever heard, probably. But I'm just kind of a sucker for that, I suppose. It's something that just hits me. I think the song imposes itself on the listener, and it's really desperate for attention, but I'd gladly just give it that attention because I think the instrumental maybe sets the tone nicely from the start. I think that dynamic that it has is very, very palpable. This haunting piano combined with the gritty guitar work. It's just a perfect balance within it. And I guess this vocals just work greatly on top of it all. I think mainly the verses are really quite haunting, and that chorus becomes kind of like a whiplash effect into some desperation and a very, I mean, the call response technique might be tacky in this case, but it's certainly effective, and it's an A-tier song for me. I'll definitely place it up there. I do think this one is very enjoyable to listen to. So nice one. Now next up, I see Kid Rock here chilling on his artwork. This is the song with Sheryl Crow. It's called Picture, and honestly, I just felt kind of secondhand embarrassment listening to this song, I suppose. I'm not particularly interested in listening to you being sympathetic about your life, Mr. Rock. It's not really something that I connect with. He wants to come across as really honest in this track, and I guess I could appreciate that, but I just find no interest in it, unfortunately. The instrumental of this track as well lacks a lot of drive. It doesn't push itself forward. It's very restrained, but it's not restrained enough to really showcase any kind of vulnerability or intimacy or emotional attachment. It's very much just quite bland, and that might be a harsh adjective to use in this case, but I just don't see why this is such a big hit. I have no idea. For some reason, Sheryl Crow, I mean, is an artist that I truly enjoy, and one of her most famous songs is this nothingness, if I'm completely honest. No, this is not for me either. I do think that I probably prefer it over both Uncle Kracker and Lil Kim because it doesn't infuriate me the same way. I just find it to be nothing really. No, I'm the wrong audience for it. I take my hands up and say that because I don't click with this at all. I don't feel for it either. So I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. And next up is Aaliyah's song Miss You, of course, the posthumous release, which is very on the nose, unfortunately. I feel like I could have really clicked with something like this if it felt more like it didn't want to be so tribute-y, because this is very clearly a work that tries to emphasize the feeling of the fact that she was indeed gone by this point. Its success is absolutely understandable, but I do find this song to be rather uninteresting. And even though it's vocally quite strong, it's melodically quite lifeless in my opinion. And I think this, like, what really turns me off about it is its excessive gloss in the production. It sounds very shimmery on the sound design. There is a bunch of birds chirping throughout the song. It really tries to create this very, I guess, angelic tone around the track, and it tries too hard in doing that, which really puts me off. I don't feel like I enjoy it as much because of that. As I said, it's vocally fine, and I can click with that aspect of it. I'll place it in D because I just think I absolutely prefer it over the songs I put in E tier, but yeah, it's not something I return to, and I don't really think that the production does Aaliyah's artistry justice in this case. Just my 2 cents. Now next up is Right Thurr by Chingy, or Chingy, I don't know. I don't know who this guy is. I've definitely heard the song. It is a supposed kind of club banger, I suppose. And the chorus could absolutely be catchy and fun for some. I find it tiresome. The beats in this song gets tiring really quickly. It's a chore for me to sit through, I have to be honest. It doesn't have a lot of variation. I get that it could be fun for some, which is why I will be lenient and put it in the E category, somewhere around there. But it's just not my kind of music, and sometimes I can click with songs like this, but this one doesn't really feel like it has any clear type of artistry to it. I don't think it's vocally convincing. I think that it sounds a bit on the amateur side in every regard, really. It sounds like a song that's very much made by someone who doesn't really have the polish or the finesse of really creating a proper club banger. This one is more supposed to be just a fun kind of club banger, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't particularly enjoy them myself. So E tier song there, Right There. and I'm kind of stacking down the bottom few categories here. However, Matchbox 20, believe it or not, Matchbox 20 is going to change things here, because Unwell is a really sweet tune. It has a very strong chorus, very strange artwork, but who cares? I mean, the song at its core here is quite compelling to me. I think melodically it's really memorable and it's easy to connect with this one. There are setbacks of it. I think the instrumental isn't really what I would have wanted them to go for instrumentation-wise. It feels very soft during those choruses. I would have probably really wanted some more drive in the guitar work. But still, I think the song just comes across quite convincingly, and it's a great listen. So I think it's probably top of B tier, this one. I don't think it's an A song. No, that would be way too generous. But it's a good listen. I do enjoy it, and I think it's definitely a step up from the previous Matchbox 20 songs I've talked about in this series. Now, that moves me very conveniently leading into Three Doors Down, who I of course also have talked about before, but this is When I'm Gone. And When I'm Gone is not really the most like iconic Three Doors Down track in my book. I think Kryptonite is more memorable, but When I'm Gone is apparently number 5 on this year's year-end chart. I wasn't aware that it was such a big hit, really. But I do enjoy this one. I'm not super familiar with Three Doors Down outside of their few hits, but this one's strong. It has a great instrumental, I feel. Again, the vocals are very strong in this song, which I think they are usually from Three Doors Down, even though I'm not very familiar with them as a whole, as a group. But usually, I do think the vocal performances are quite strong. This song has a lot of, I wouldn't say gritty guitar work, but there's a little bit more drive and force within the guitars of this track, and the chorus absolutely works. It has this kind of rhythmic flow to it that is quite high energy and a bit rapid in its I guess the intonation, really. It's enjoyable altogether. I think it's a strong pop rock song, and I'm placing it in A tier. It's not the strongest of A tier songs, but it's still very much feels very complete to me, and I always enjoy listening to it. So I'll place it in A, absolutely. And speaking of A-tier songs, Beyoncé and Jay-Z, not to forget, Crazy in Love. What a banger this one is. It's really a perfect pop tune. It's going top of A-tier, I don't care. Just from the very first opening, this huge intro that the song has, it's instantly recognizable. It hits so hard. The song maintains that energy throughout. I think the verses have a really strong beat to them that stands out. The chorus, rhythmic intensity definitely on top. And Beyoncé with a very strong vocal performance throughout this song. It is vastly superior to the previous Beyoncé song I talked about in this video, because it has that energy, it has that drive, it has that sense of purpose and direction, and it just hits hard. Strong production on this track as well. It just ticks every box. It's a perfect pop song, really, in my book. I don't return to it as often as I probably should, which I guess is what holds me back from placing it in S tier. It's not one of these songs I'm obsessed with, really. But it's every time I hear it, I'm just like, they couldn't do anything else with this one. It's just perfectly put together, I feel. So strong A song there from Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Very, very good. And I'm moving on to another artist I talked about before in relation to Beyoncé, I guess, Sean Paul. But this is his own song. It's called Get Busy. And I guess this was very early Sean Paul, because like these days, I kind of find Sean Paul to be a bit meme-worthy with his vocal style. That might not be the right thing to feel, but I feel like he's kind of overdoing his roti bang bang concept. So Get Busy though, this was before it got tiresome, and I think he's really utilizing his voice in an effective manner here. It's fun to listen to, and the track overall is a fun concept. Sean Paul's vocals, of course, like they stand out in a positive way here, I feel, and the track is very uplifting. I would say that it gets quite repetitive quite quickly. I don't think the song needs to be as long as it is, but I understand it. Like, you can't really... How would you create any type of variation in a song like this? It's very much the same thing over and over again, and I'm not sure if it really would have benefit from variation. I guess because both of the beat and the melodic intensity is really constant throughout, and they just want to hammer that home, I suppose. I was personally done with it after 2 minutes, but I mean, it insists on being 3.5 minutes long, and I get it. So I'll place it in C. I'll place it above Shake It Tailfeather. Why not? But yeah, it's fun for 2 minutes for me, and then I don't really need to hear the rest. But the beat is strong. The vocal concept it really works as well, and it is absolutely engaging. And something that isn't engaging for me is Ignition Remix parenthesis by R. Kelly, and I find this. I understand why this is a hit, I suppose, but to me it's all over the place. This composition that it has is simply so messy to me. Vocally, I find the song to be very overbearing. There's this kind of delay on the vocal in the chorus, which is incredibly distracting and really sounds quite ludicrous in my opinion. Melodically, no clear sense of direction, I guess, and my head is just spinning from trying to comprehend it. And it's one of the most non-enjoyable listening experiences I've had in these. I gotta be honest. It's just not a song that clicks for me whatsoever. It's down in F tier. I get the appeal maybe about this one a bit more than the other songs down there because it's just a big hit, I suppose. And I mean, it does stand out quite a bit. It tries to have a lot of kind of groovy ideas, I suppose. It's neat conceptually, but listening to it is a chore for me, truly, and I get no enjoyment out of it. But I do get a lot of enjoyment out of In Da Club by 50 Cent, which is, of course, very iconic. It's an instant attention grabber from the first few seconds. That beat goes incredibly hard right from the get-go. The song flows very nicely throughout. There are expressive horns within the song, engaging rhythms that just lay the foundation to this really addictive beat. Choruses, fantastic flow to them. I think the backing track also makes that click really well, like the combination of the two. And I think it's no wonder that this is one of the most famous hip-hop songs of all time. It's an A-tier song. I'm actually placing it below Crazy in Love though, because I get more enjoyment out of that one. I don't really return to 50 Cent's music that much, but it's no wonder that this is his big standout hit, because it goes incredibly hard, it's very compelling, it has a lot of drive, and yeah, that beat just works, it clicks so nicely, and I think the vocal combination on top of it is rhythmically really, really neat as well. And that's the end of the tier list. As you can see, not as positive of a tier list as 2002, but it could have been way worse. I think there are a few standouts in here. The songs that I put in the A category are definitely enjoyable for me, and the B category as well. They're decent, good songs, really. But a few too many F tier songs for me in this case, and I don't really enjoy the E tier songs either. So this was a bit rough to get through. I mean, 8 songs in the bottom 2 categories is not a good track record for me, but it's the way it is. Maybe 2004, or hopefully 2004, will be more positive for me to get through. I'm optimistic anyway. But maybe I'm completely alone in my opinion on 2003. Maybe you think this is the strongest selection so far. Let me know if that's the case. Please share your thoughts on these songs in the comments. You don't have to talk about all of them, but mention a few of them if you feel passionately about them. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when I talk about 2004. So take care until then, and bye-bye.